Hello and welcome to another edition of the American Scouser podcast. I'm your host Cozzy, and with me today I've got Tim and Hilary. Hi guys.
What's up?
Hey.
Hey, we're here to go have a little quick little preview of the old Bayern Munich game. Probably the tie of the round in the Champions League. But before we get into that, we'll have a little touch about the Burnley game from the weekend. Tim, I'll come to you first. Weird game, really. What did you kind of think of the performance and how the Reds done?
I thought we played really well. Burnley is kind of like one of those teams that, let's face it, we have trouble against. So, I thought they weren't very sharp. That's for sure. I thought they did not play well as Burnley. I was expecting more of a, kind of like tough punching us around kind of a defense they normally do. I thought we played really well. Getting the goals helped. I was afraid. I'll be honest. I did not set the alarm, and that's like the ultimate mistake right there. And so when I woke up, and I was recording the game, so I was gonna kind of like watch it. And when I didn't see any messages at all, I was kind of scared. I was like, "Oh my God, something must have gone wrong." Then I started watching the game, and that bullshit goal happens with people clobbering all of a sudden as they're scoring and stuff. And I was like, "Oh man, this is not going to be a good day." Looks like. But let's face it. With considering a goal like that, they shook her right off. They went right at Burnley. They got the goals. Yeah, whenever there's 3-2, I guess it's going to be slightly nervy because a bad bounce can cost us points and stuff. But I thought they had that game under control the entire second half and stuff. And it was going to be one of those things that, I was like, oh, it's going to be. I think they expected to kind of ride it all the way too. But I was pretty happy with the performance. I thought they played really well. Adam, I was thinking of you, Cozzy. I'm like Adam. It was to me, he was the man of the match, and he played like an awesome game up there.
Yeah, thought he played well. I think I said on previous podcasts where I was like, I think I was maybe a couple of months ago, and I was saying to you guys that we're going to need these players to step up and give us performances. I was looking at Lallana, I was looking at Sturridge, and we had a kind of an in-depth conversation on a previous podcast about Lallana, and I was like, well, at the time it was 14 games left. I was going like, we're going to need Adam Lallana for 4 or 5 starts and playing well, and he's kind of proved me wrong, really. Hilary, I'll come to you. The Reds, they've shut themselves off of the craziest opening goal ever. How that's not a foul is absolutely beyond me. But we're coming back from that goal to score 4 goals with the weather as well, which probably just changed every season in 90 minutes of watching football. I thought the Reds done really well.
Yeah, I think it was I missed most of the first half, but the second half was wild, and I was just really excited to see some of what the front three were doing. Salah didn't score, but he looked pretty great out there, and he was involved in everything. And I also really enjoyed seeing Bobby and Sadio score. So yeah, it was just it was a great game. But yeah, it's super frustrating when those things happen, and just all the fan arguments that kind of come out of it, where like, oh well, if you want that called, you have to have, this called and stuff like that, and how, oh, it all evens out. Well, VAR is going to take care of that hopefully next season. So
I think that's for another podcast altogether, a VAR discussion. I'm totally against it, and I'm sure
Really?
we'll arrange a podcast. We're not going to go into this now. We will arrange a podcast towards the end of the season, and we'll have a little chat about VAR. But anyway, we'll get into that. So I'll come back to you. I thought the front three, with Lallana, he was that link player. He was the player that looks like we kind of missed, the one, to pick the ball up off Gini and Fabinho and drive it forward and link with our front three. It kind of looked back to the old Liverpool from last season in the effect of how they were connecting with each other and how they were kind of moving around on the air between the front four, really.
Yeah, he's the closest thing we have to Ox, isn't it? In terms of, having the work rate while having, the vision to be able to hold the ball, dribble, create space, make the defenders defend. So he was key in that. I think we do not get that as much with, and you could tell instantly. And I know, we all want Keita to be that guy, and we're hoping he's going to be down the road here. But you can tell that he does not have the same work rates, when he came in, for example, compared to what Lallana had. I mean, he created the goal just by his work rate on pressure alone. And he, like I say, he moves, creates space. It's almost like having two Firminios out there in some ways, where there's somebody constantly moving around, which lets Mane and Salah make their runs and create space for them. So I thought it was, he's crucial, and it's sad in a way because you don't want to get too caught up in the gameplay because it is Lallana and you don't know when he's going to be injured again. But it's almost a shame. I just feel bad for the kid because I feel like, if he didn't have those injuries, he could be a very, very important part of this team on a regular basis. Just because I think he's the ideal guy for what Klopp wants in a midfield player, in a creative midfield player. All this talk about going around online now about, Coutinho and Barcelona and will we take it back, blah, 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 and stuff. And I feel like that's one thing, that Klopp wants that Coutinho didn't have, which that's why I think Klopp was more than okay with letting him go and take that money, is, the work rate that Lallana brings. So, that creative player in midfield still has to do the work because you cannot have Salah and Mane on the field and have somebody in midfield who's not going to have the work rate either.
Yeah, I agree with all that, really. I think, I just think it was if you're a City, for example, and I understand they've had a wonderful result today in the Champions League, 100% brilliant result. But if you're City and you're sitting there going, well, we got a bit of luck with the Raheem Sterling offside, and then you look and go, oh, fucking hell, they're getting things that are breaking for them. Do you get what I mean? I think it hurts them. I think if they sit there and go, right, 12 o'clock kick-off, Burnley, no one's going to fancy this, the weather's a disgrace, in effect, and we go out and score 4 goals, and they probably sit there and go, fucking hell, they got the goalkeeper kicking it to them, kicking the ball to them. You got stupid mistakes that the defenders are doing, just letting them in. You know what I mean? They're probably sitting there like, my God, everything's going Liverpool's way as well. You know what I mean? I think it kind of really puts the pressure right back on. And, before we go on to the Bayern Munich game, I think we should need to mention how wonderful is Virgil van Dijk. Now, I could talk about this man. Honestly, I think I'd leave my wife for him if he asked. I don't think I've seen a better centre-back play for Liverpool. And I don't think there's a better centre-back in the world at the moment. He's just imperious.
Yeah, I really feel the same way. I feel like there's just no one comparable to him right now. And honestly, I feel like we're the envy, our center back at least is the envy of all the other teams, and just not only like his own ability and like the fact that he hasn't like just the stats, like going I think a full year without losing an aerial duel or whatever, and all that stuff. Just like he's amazing, but what he brings to the whole team and what his presence does and how it massively affected everything from the minute he started his first game for us. I mean, it's just incredible, and yeah, I feel like he's probably, if he doesn't win Player of the Year, or if he's not in like the top 2 or 3, I would be really surprised.
I feel the same way. I think if you had to probably pick right now without him or Raheem Sterling, he's having a wonderful season at Man City. But I think his biggest compliment I can give him, he's made Joel Matip look like a football player, which is unheard of. Because to be fair, because Joel Matip, to be fair, stepped up. Joel Matip has been really good next to him. That's why I actually think I could be really good next to him. And that's no disrespect to Joel Matip, but when he's alongside Dejan Lovren, let's be honest, we've seen that partnership many times, and it's just not worked. I'll come back to you. I am actually, Tim. We'll have a little last touch on this Burnley game. 2 goals for Mane, 2 goals for Bobby. Bobby's 2 goals are all tap-ins, and we didn't get a no-look goal. Is the pressure getting to him?
Yeah, right. I thought that
Come
first
on.
goal would definitely be a no-look goal. I mean, it was just begging to be. I think he was more shocked that the ball just ended there because they made a mess of that between the goalie, I think it was Tarkowski.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they made a mess of that. I think he was too shocked to be able to kind of showboat and do like a no-look there. I mean, I think obviously the biggest concern still is Mo in some ways, isn't it? In terms of like finish, when you were talking finishing. I mean, Mane's finish was just unbelievable, by the way. That is a very, very tough shot to do as a one-time hit, like curl it like that. That was just a wonderful finish. But and in some ways, I mean, Salah is still creating. I think his presence brings a lot. But let's face it, he kind of like that. What was that? Is that the third goal? Where basically the goalie gave him the ball. He pretty much made a mess of that. And it's just because Firmino ran there hard, it landed in front of him. It's not like it was a pass to him or anything like that. So that was almost like a 2-on-1 that was being messed up. And, Firmino's work rate out there paid off. I think that's probably the only concern going into this game. I mean, his presence is needed because of the threats he brings. He makes defenders worry. I mean, you can tell he makes defenders worry just by, I play defense, so when I see defenders play, you can tell when somebody's worried at the person coming at him. And you do not want that guy with the ball coming at you. It's just like, especially in the box, they're afraid to touch him because I think he's been getting smarter about, taking the contact and getting the penalties and stuff like that. So they're almost afraid to touch him. When they don't touch him, Salah can move around with the ball and create and stuff. I think finishing is the biggest probably concern right now after, the couple of chances in the Everton game and a couple of chances, obviously in this last game. But, with the quality he has, there's no doubt it's going to eventually break. And maybe tomorrow will be a great day for that.
Yeah, I think we'll move on to that, actually. It's probably the biggest tie of the round, in my opinion. 10 European Cups between us. Bayern Munich are now top of their league. Liverpool are second. A point off the top of the English league. I think Bayern Munich have made 7 of the last 8 semi-finals. Liverpool were in the final last year. To be fair, Hilary, it doesn't really come much bigger than this.
No, I think that it's a massive game for us simply because, we made it to the final last year, and this game, it's really completely up in the air. Like, and if we get one goal, it feels like it's within our reach. Like we should be able to do it. But then we also have that kind of the fact that we're haunted by our away game record in Europe. It's just I don't know what to think. And I saw, I had the pleasure to go to the Allianz Arena in August, and it's pretty great. And someone online was comparing it to like the Anfield of Germany, and so like it's gonna have that home advantage for them, for sure. And so it's just gonna be one of those games where I think our players are all gonna have to be completely in sync, and I think we have to get that first goal.
Yeah, I agree. Tim, I'll come to you. I think we're playing against a really top side. It's a side who's found a bit of form since the last time we played them. I think they won 6-0, I believe, on the weekend. I think the Bayern Munich team will probably sitting there with the manager and going, you need to score 2 goals. You have to score 2. Because Liverpool will score. You have to usually bet that Liverpool will score in a football match. It's like, okay, yeah, we can look at the Everton game and the United game, but them 2 teams, Everton and United, were playing not to win the game. Bayern Munich have to play to win the game, which will create space for Liverpool. I think it's going to kind of play into Liverpool's hands.
I think so, and I think the lineup will kind of show that. I think we're going to be content with holding Bayern and, knowing that if a team is coming at us, that kind of helps us out in terms of creating space. That's our strength, is our counter game. So I almost expect more of a game like we played against Roma or something like that in the away game. You know what I mean? Where they're coming to score and we're kind of like on the counter, just waiting to pounce. And I think the lineup will reflect that. I would expect like a lot more defensive midfield overall. Dare I say, Milner is available. It might be our Champions League defensive trio. But yeah, I mean, we obviously we have to score. But I agree with Hilary. I think getting that, if we get the first goal, that will really make life a lot easier. The game is going to be a lot on. I mean, both sides are like experienced teams, but I think the team that kind of holds its nerves, regardless of the score, is going to going to be the one to advance. Because if we score first, if Bayern holds their nerves, like you're saying, they're probably saying, "Hey, we got to score two either way. Just keep playing." Whereas if we get scored on, they still can't rest because one goal,
Yeah.
we're still going through a draw, kind of like plays into our hands. So I think it's a matter of who's going to be able to kind of control their nerves. My hope, I mean, if we have if Liverpool's going to go through, it's going to be we're going to get a goal, and they're going to be coming at us a bit more of in a panic mode, and then we're going to be able to get more than one goal. And once we get the second goal, I think it'll be game over because this is not Liverpool that lets in goals easily like it did in the past.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really weird game. Now, I know we always say let's get the first goal and let's settle it down. I'm not really with that in this game. I think if you get the first goal early, say in the first 15, Liverpool go 1-0 up, I think the fans will probably get on for like really ramp up Bayern Munich more than what they would be. Because I think they'll go, well, it's only two. It's only two. And as you know, if it goes to 1-1, that crowd it'll be fire in that stadium. Absolute fire. I think Liverpool will be more in the same breath of, if Bayern take the lead, do your game. It's fine. If Bayern take the lead, it's not an issue. You still go through with your one goal anyway. Which I think could be key to the game. Hilary, I'll come to you. What would you do with the formation here? Because we've got Dejan Lovren back. Could be available. I know we've got Naby Keita out. I'm kind of trying to think what kind of changes would you do from the weekend?
Well, it's important to note that Kimmich is out, and so our left side is going to be really important. I'm pretty sure they'll be slotting Rafinha in that position, and so I think that they'll be vulnerable there. And of course, we have Robbo and Sadio Mane and everything like that. Like our left side is so great, but I think that they're going to be forced to compensate for that loss, and I think that it will create a little bit of more openness in other parts of the midfield too. So for me, I think that I would keep Matip in there because he played so well in the first leg with the partnership with Fabinho, and I just feel like for me, Milner, Fabinho, and Genie would be my starting because I feel like I trust Genie and Milner to be able to find that space that I feel like Bayern's going to be making to compensate for the left side. So yeah.
Tim, Hilary just mentioned Millie coming in. Would you keep Lallana in? Would you bang your Shaq in? I think Klopp's got a nice head scratcher to have, really, because it's nice to have a few options.
Yeah, I don't think he's even thinking about bringing Shaq in this game, to be honest. I mean, not for starting, because I think like I said, we play it safe first because we don't want to, I mean, all we need is one goal and goal draw. The Lallana Milner thing is tricky. I mean, I agree with Hilary. I think if Milner is healthy, Milner plays. Not only that, I don't know if Lallana can give you 2 games within a short amount of time. Just because of, based on past experience. I mean, everybody else is gonna. But I don't know if he'll be able to give us the same game with, 3 days later. So I don't see that happening only because of that. If Milner's, available, I think we do, handle Milner, Genie in midfield. I don't even think about Lauren. He has not played in I don't know how many months now. So I think you stick with Matip, uh, with Van Dijk in the middle there. Hopefully Trent is good too, so he can start. Robertson on the left. I think that's, like Hilary says, that's going to be key. That's probably our biggest gain from game one. I mean, their advantage is they're home now. Our advantage is we have Van Dijk back, and we have they don't have Kimmich back there. So, and that's kind of like a huge shifting in terms of personnel. But if Milner is not there, I'm thinking it's going to be Fabinho, Hando, and Genie. I know Genie was kind of like has not been his best self the last few games, but you need him out there. I think for this kind of game where we need to control midfield as much as possible and not give them too much of the ball. This is not a team where we want to totally sit back and wait and hope for a counterattack at all times. I think we got to control the midfield, and we know when Klopp wants to do that, he puts the defensive boys out there.
I'm going to play a bit of devil's advocate here for you guys, right? What do you think about this? In the big games this season, especially early on in the season, he played Salah down the middle. He played Bobby number 10, and then he'll try and get, his Shaq in or his Kite in. And it's not a feeling, it's just playing a bit of devil's advocate for the bit of fun here. What do you think about Salah going down the middle? He's going to play Bobby number 10. He'll play Mane and maybe Divock. Now, that doesn't... I know that might sound absolutely ludicrous, but when you think about it, with what Hilly just said, with Kimmich out and Rafinha, Divock's pace can cause a lot of trouble, I think. And in the big games, he has played Salah down the middle, Hilary. It's something that he's done. It's something that he likes to do. I'm just trying to think what you think there. And does he think, well, at least if it's not working out with 30 to go, I do still have my Lallana sub, or Liverpool are 1-0 up, I've got my Milner sub. It doesn't basically waste all his options, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that
speechless. Look at that, speechless.
Well,
I mentioned Big Divi.
The lineup that you just put forward would be like, I mean, if they were all at their best, that would be like an offensive nightmare for Bayern. Especially if we could get them to connect kind of the way that they did. Well, Bobby wasn't on the field, but yeah, like Origi, I was really impressed with him, and I would not mind seeing him and what he can do in this game. I hadn't even considered it.
Well, he said Genie was tired, hasn't he? He said Genie was tired at the end of the Klopp said in his post-match press conference. He doesn't look right. He's tired. He needs a break. That's another thing that's playing into my kind of thinking when I'm saying it. And the only reason I'm saying it is because in the big games this season, he has went Salah down the middle.
Yeah, see, I would rather not take that risk. If Genie is not out there,
you wouldn't, would you?
Insert
You're the most negative Nelly in the world, you are. You're the most pessimistic man ever. Let's go for it. You're fucking Liverpool.
See, I would rather have, Salah and Mane in the wings. If anything else, take advantage of the fact that Kimmich is not there. Swap him around once in a while to take advantage of that, left side. So, throw Mane out there for a little bit, swap him out with like Salah for a little bit, really confuse the heck out of that side. All we need is kind of like a goal to get things going here. So I would rather, I was impressed with Origi and, how Divock did on that left wing. I just think it's too big of a game to kind of tinker with stuff, if that makes sense. I think, and I agree. It would shock me. So I'm sure it would shock Bayern if they saw Divock out there or something. But I still think, just based on past experience, especially in the Champions League, we kind of go the safe routes, and we know, who plays mid when we play the safe routes. But then again, we have been pretty miserable in away games in Champions League this year. So, maybe he will tweak things around. I just don't think that's Klopp's regular nature to kind of tinker things away from home. Usually when you see like surprise lineups, if you notice, we're home. and you had the crowd and everything like that on top of what you're throwing out on the field. But I just don't think he rolls the dice away from home.
The only thing I'm thinking of as well, I think he looks and goes, last season in the Champions League, we kind of blew teams away inside 45 minutes. He kind of, we blew Porto away, we blew City away, we blew Roma away. The tie was over inside 45 minutes. And I think he might, it's a possibility that he might go, you know what, I want to get my goal first. Let's just get my goal. You know what I mean? Let's just, if you want to turn this into a chess match, Liverpool can play that way. But if you want to go end to end and create space for Liverpool, I think they could not be an awful option. I know Liverpool fans on Twitter might be losing their head over that, or even in the comments, but that's life, because that's how a football manager thinks. I think he looks and goes, this team has to come out and play against us. I need to get me fourth attacker on, but I don't want to waste all my subs. Do you get what I mean? If Liverpool get their goal, for example, if Liverpool go in 1-1 at half time or 1-0 up, he can look and go, well, I've got Milner there now to tighten it up, on the 60. I've got Lallana to, hold the ball up for me and, link the play up, and we can go a bit safer. It's just an option, especially with Gini Wijnaldum. He's hinted that he might be getting a rest. I just think, with Liverpool, it might be an option for the lads, that's all.
I mean, I think if Lallana is going to be able to pull it off, and like I said, that's a big if, just knowing, his history. But yeah, I would definitely be in the favor of, having a lineup where you have Henderson and Fabinho for safety, and you throw Lallana in there to cause havoc with the front three. I mean, I would totally be up for that. I just don't know if you can pull off, 2 games like that within 3 days. I don't know if that's asking a bit too much from him.
Okay, so let's get into the kind of the nitty gritty here. Keita's injured. Gini said he needs a rest. He said he's tired, so you can assume he might get a rest now. We don't think Lallana can play 2 and 3 days, 4 days. So Hilary, it kind of looks like his only option is Milner, unless he can try and squeeze another 90 minutes out of Gini, at least another 70.
Yeah, well, I think that the other thing to consider is like what we brought up earlier for a moment was like if Trent isn't fit or match fit to play the whole game, which we won't know. I mean, we can assume that he is because he was in training, but I mean that would totally shift everything around. But yeah, I feel like Milner has to be on the field if he's completely at 100% for me. I don't know. And what you were saying earlier about Origi, like he tracked back and played really well defensively. And I think that my only concern is that we have the right defensive, like the players who can perform come back and perform defensively against some of Bayern's really dangerous players like Gnabry and Louis. And Robbo is great, but there were a few moments in that first leg where he did not quite get there against Gnabry. So I think that for me, it's more important to have those players that are going to be able to come back and keep those dangers at bay. For Milner is a must.
So that would be your starting front three then. Well, midfield three would have to be Fabinho, Henderson, and Milner.
Yeah, I guess like if Gini says he's tired, I'll just be like, okay. So yeah, for me, man, I guess
you prefer would be Gini if he's not getting rested. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Tim, what you think? What you prefer midfield three?
Preferred is probably Fabinho, Henderson, Gini. Or I mean, you can substitute Milner for Fabinho. I think Henderson is definitely out there, and I think Gini is definitely out there too. I think partially that's Klopp kind of sticking up for his guys, and he's not gonna say Gini stunk up the place today. He's gonna say he looked a little tired, so we took him off.
Yeah, of course.
They did take him off. It was what was it, like late 60th or 70th minute or something like that. So he got a little bit of rest at the end of the game. I feel like you need that guy's energy out there. And especially if you're doing Fabinho and Henderson, you definitely need Gini out there. I mean, would it be interesting to get, Shakir or somebody like that out there. But I think that's, goes back to taking options away from the bench, where if we need to insert some offensive, attacking force, I think that's when like Shaq comes in. I was really hoping for Keita to be able to be that guy,
So was I.
but
Yeah.
sucks that he's not gonna be out there. They didn't even make the trip, so. But yeah, that's what I would probably go with is Henderson, Fabinho, just because of the physicality in the middle, and then ideally Genie, and then Milner would be. Yeah, we don't know if Milner's gonna end up being the right back, but I definitely going back to what Hilary was talking about. That's probably my biggest concern because that's the biggest trouble we had in the first game was coming down Robertson's side. Not having Kimmich is a good thing because there's not that we didn't really make Gnabry work that much ourselves because I think both kind of like Robertson and Kimmich set back a little bit in fear of Mane and Gnabry. So I'm hoping we can kind of turn that tide, and you need to be able to shift either Hendo or Fabinho down that way.
I think the first leg is. I don't think it's a lot to go by. I know fans like to take the first leg as something that it could be a way in or it could be how the games are going to go. I don't believe this is. The reason being Virgil van Dijk was suspended. Now, if you're Robertson and you turn around and you got Virgil telling you to push on, and you turn around and you got a centre midfielder playing centre back alongside your fourth choice centre back, the balance is just completely wrong. And we're also talking, of course, we're playing a world class side, and no one's denying that. I just think it helps Robertson a lot more when he looks to his right and he sees Virgil going, go ahead, you can push up 25 yards. You know what I mean? Because I can cover this part. I think Fabinho got through the game well. I think Joe Mata played well on the day as well. But, of course, it's just a completely different scenario when Virgil van Dijk is available.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is, you're home and you don't want to concede and give away that away goal too. So I'm sure that kind of, plays into your mind, in the back of your mind that, I'd rather be safe than push up. With a game like this, hopefully that will change because, a goal will be crucial and a goal is needed really at the end of the day.
The other thing is as well, Hilary Pitch will probably not taking into consideration. Sadio Mane could have scored a hat-trick on the day and we had no Virgil van Dijk. And this tie could have been dead and buried if Sadio would have took his chances. So, I can see Liverpool scoring. Hilly, I'm going to come to yourself. What's your score prediction for the game?
Oh man, I'm gonna be the optimist and say I think it's gonna be 3-2.
God, don't do that to me.
I was going to say, how's that optimism?
Let's go to the pessimist. Come on then, same lad. What's the score? 4-0 Bayern.
Even if they tied it 3-3, we would still be going through no matter what. So 3-2 is still like a 2.
Yeah, I have a bad feeling about this one, man. As pessimistic as I am, I usually, give favorable forecast for us because my heart speaks at the end. But I kind of have a bad feeling about this one. I feel like the score is going to be 2-1, and I have a bad feeling we're going to be on the losing end of it.
You're not coming back on. You're not allowed. You can't come. My prediction is going to be 1-1. I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be horrible. And I'm going to give a prediction that Liverpool are going to win the European Cup without winning an away game, which is absolutely ludicrous. And it'll be. Imagine looking back at all the stats in history. It's a bit like, I think, when I was so gutted last week when Spurs drew a game. And I was like, I was so disappointed. Because if you're all the stat guys and you look back and go, hey guys, if you win 30 games this season, we should be at our target. No worries, mate, yeah. But you're going to lose the other 8 games. And you're still not going to win the league. It could be absolutely ludicrous that Liverpool can win the European Cup without winning an away game. It's absolutely ridiculous. You lose to Red Star Belgrade and then you go on to win the European Cup. So that's going to be my prediction. I'm going to go 1-1. Guys,
the nightmare scenario. Oh, sorry.
No, of course. Go ahead.
The nightmare scenario would be 0-0 going into extra time and PKs, right?
It would be if the other guy from last year was in goal. But I mean, our good friend Lloris is someone else who wants to touch on before we wrap this up because I think it's kind of been a bit of a big news actually. So it's a nice little segue. Tim, he's finished, isn't he? He's lucky he's a handsome boy because he's going to get some jobs with that beautiful man he is. But my God, he's not a footballer, is he? I think it's just been released today that Besiktas haven't been paying his wages for the last 4 months. I don't know if you guys know that, and basically the president's come out and said it was the worst deal we've ever done.
Yeah, I was reading about that actually earlier today, that he's taking like Besiktas to UEFA or whatever. That was a bad deal for them, wasn't it? But works for us. I mean, we're making our money off of it, aren't we?
You know what, right? Hilary, I'll come to you. I know this sounds ludicrous, but what happened in May last year in the final was probably the best thing that's ever happened to Liverpool Football Club. I'm sorry. Probably is. Because Liverpool lost the European Cup by a guy who has no hands. He has holograms for hands. And then, because I always say this, if Liverpool go on to win that game 4-3, Loris Karius is still Liverpool's number one. And right now, we've probably got one of the best goalkeepers in the world because of that, what's happened in the final, really.
You know, I'm not sure I ascribe to that because I think that we were always going to get another keeper.
Wow, okay.
I felt like since that January transfer window, I really thought we were going to get Oblak in the summer.
Yeah.
I was one of those people. I love Alisson, don't get me wrong, but I was definitely more turned by Oblak. But yeah, like I do feel like what you said is accurate. We've dodged a bullet because he's just not good enough, and the pressure. I don't know if you know it would have hurt less or hurt less then because none of us ever expected to get that far in Champions League last season, and so like it was completely disappointing, but it felt like whatever. But if he was then to keep on as our number one or as the backup, and then we get into a big game like tomorrow or the game for the league or something like that, and I just wouldn't be able to trust him. Or I feel like that would be a game where he would let us down. So yeah, I feel like he's someone else's problem,
As I said, he's lucky he's a pretty boy because he's not going to struggle with looks like that. But I mean, for me, I think there's a bigger narrative around him, and I think it's a bigger narrative around the club and where the team's going. Really, after last season in the Champions League, it wouldn't have been not a bad thing, but you wouldn't have been surprised if this team collapsed in effect. That what happened to them and how it happened in the Champions League. Go, fuck me, are we ever going to get here again? You know what I mean? But for the team to come back, roll the sleeves up, get over that disappointment, and it was a horrendous disappointment for the players, of course. It's their dream to win the Champions League. It's every player's dream to win the Champions League. But to roll the sleeves up and go, right, you know what, that's not happening again, and go again. It's to go again and go, fucking, you know what? You look at other sports around the world, I always say the best people in their sport is the longevity of people and the people who can bounce back kind of really from adversity. It's quite easy, playing in the top side, winning every trophy every single year. If the times when you're finishing third and fourth and then you come back or something like that happens to you in the final. When you look at the young team that we had with Robertson, Trent, these kind of young players, it was Salah's kind of first big season. In effect, it was Sadio's who came from Southampton. What I'm getting at is, Tim, the character in the side to kind of show and come back to the determination, the fire in the bellies to go, you know what, that is not happening again. We are a really good side and we're going to prove it this season.
I think so, and I think it's kind of helped what we did over the summer. I think, we kind of, and that's like an interesting topic by itself, is what would happen if we won that final. I still believe we do not sign a goalie if we win that final.
No chance.
That's my personal opinion. I don't think we sign anybody if we win the final. And I don't know if we're as aggressive in the offseason if we win the final. I think part of what helped is us kind of like rebuilding on top of what we have. That kind of shows the entire group that, hey, we're headed in the right direction. Yes, this sucked, but we're still on track going towards, bigger, better and bigger things. And yes, you do have to have a good, positive squad mentality. I mean, it starts with Klopp, obviously, but I think like some of the leaders on that team, and these are the things that people don't see behind the scenes, and they want this guy to be captain, that guy to be captain, and stuff like that. But I think you have a lot of good leaders on that team that kept things together. And I think, like I said, you're sending a team a positive message when you're saying, hey, we're headed in the right direction. And boom, here are some more reinforcements. We're just going to keep going on our track and we're going to, at the end, succeed. Because, yeah, I mean, it could probably not have ended in a more discouraging note. Just the way they lost. It's just kind of like, kicking the balls, if you will. I mean, that's like worse than losing 3-0 and playing poorly, really. So I think, yeah, it's been huge, and it's kind of like it's odd how that has changed, because I really feel like, yes, we would be happy, I guess we would have won the Champions League, but I don't think we're getting as much of an investment right back in it right away, and I'm pretty sure we're keeping the same goalkeeper and not changing him after he won us the final. Because let's face it, I mean, he played decent all the way through there. Didn't
He was
have big
okay.
flops. And like he is like, in Turkey, like I've seen some of the goals he's let in, and I don't watch a lot of Beşiktaş. I mean, I can barely stand watching Fenerbahçe because they suck this year. But I mean, you watch highlights and stuff like that, and I talk to a lot of my friends back home. I mean, it's kind of like back to his Liverpool life, where it's just freaking scary back there every time the ball goes back there, kind of thing, which is not what you want out of your goalie. And now, of course, he goes to a German newspaper and says, "I would play a lot better if I was getting paid," but we all know that's not true. So, I mean, good riddance in some ways. I really felt bad for him. I think he got probably hammered more than he should have been by some fans. But, at the end of the day, it's a business. If you're not good enough, you're going to go, which was fine. I think some fans just took it to an extreme. I mean, if you're not good, you leave and you're done. We don't like just go and harass people after they leave, like if they were playing, I mean, when Moreno leaves, are we going to really go after him and harass him afterwards? No, you're going to be like, thank God, and he's going to be gone. But I felt like, people took it to another extent with like Harris when he left. So.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Moreno's ever going to leave. I think my grandkids are going to see Moreno still playing for Liverpool somehow. But I mean,
he'll still be on the bench.
fucking kills me. But I mean, no, the thing is with Karius, this is my little thing on him. I thought Klopp looked at him in the summer. I think he goes, I can rebuild this kid. I think he looks at him. I think he looks at him in the preseason friendly. I think we go to Tranmere, and he drops the ball against Tranmere in the preseason, and that's when their striker turns around and goes, "You're fucking shit." And then I've actually got a friend who's a Tranmere fan, and he goes, "The guy who scored against them was a Scouser, he was a Liverpool fan who went to Kiev," which is absolutely phenomenal, right? But I mean, and I think he looks at him. I think he sees the crowd reaction that he's getting in pre-season friendlies off the opposition crowd, knowing they can get to him, the pressure's on. I think that's what's turned Klopp said. I think he's like, nah, he's finished, this kid. We need to push Man City. I think he's looked. I think as soon as Jurgen Klopp came in 3 years ago, I think he looked and went, Man City's going to be our rival. It's probably going to be the only one. I think he looked and went, it's all been building to this moment of going 1-on-1 Man City, and the kid's just not good enough. I think his confidence is ruined. Again, I think he could be a good goalkeeper. I just don't think he's anywhere near the level of what Liverpool need. And by the sounds of it, this is the thing, bad loan spells can happen. They really can. Players can go and be awful on loan and come back and be good. Divock Origi's the perfect example. He went to Wolfsburg and he was dreadful. I think he scored like 4 or 5 goals in like 28 games. He was not good at Wolfsburg, but he's come back. He's put his head down. He's worked hard, and now he's an option. Daniel Sturridge went to West Brom. He's come back, worked hard. Okay, he's been poor the last few times, but he came on the weekend for a brief cameo and he had a wonderful assist to set up Sadio. So, and he's contributed in games. The Chelsea game, the PSG at home. So bad loan spells can happen. I just don't think he goes anywhere near the Premier League. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen with him, but it'd be nice if he did get paid. I'm not going to lie. Poor kid. You still deserve a wage. I'm not going to lie, but anyway, I think we'll end it there anyway, guys. What's your plan tomorrow? Where you're watching the game, Hilary?
Alone by myself, away from
in a
Bayern
dark
Munich.
room.
I live in a house with a Bayern Munich fan, so.
Oh no. Oh, how did that happen? Oh no.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. I mean, after the game, somebody's gonna go on vacation for a week at least to be away from the other one, regardless of what the score is.
Do you know what though, Hilary Knight? I hope you get a 94th minute equaliser at 1-1, so you can have the away goal right in their face. It'll be absolutely wonderful just for you. You know what I mean? The 94, like he thinks they're there. He thinks they're there. And then there's a towering Virgil van Dijk header in the 94th minute off a corner when Alisson's ran up. It'll be absolutely wonderful for you. But I mean, Sim, where are you watching it, mate?
I'm watching on my lucky laptop. That's where I watch all the
You have a
Champions
lucky
League
laptop?
games. I have a lucky laptop. My other lucky laptop got stolen, so I guess it wasn't that lucky. So I have created. So I guess I have now created a new lucky laptop. So I haven't lost a game on this one yet. The few away games I ended up watching somewhere else, we lost. So I watch it on the lucky laptop next to my desk over here.
I like that. Hilary, have you got any superstitions, Hilary?
No.
No. When I go to the match, I got not a superstition. It's just kind of a rule that you got to have 6 pints before you walk in. It's like kind of doesn't really matter what time the match is on. 6 pints of lager before you go to the match. It's kind of.
I don't know if that counts as a superstition or.
But it is though. It is to me. I'll tell you why. I took because I don't know if you listeners know, but my wife is American. That's why I'm here. Because as you know, my American accent kind of goes in and out here, guys. But I mean,
yeah, same here.
I took her back, fella. I took her back to Liverpool, and I think I'm going to take you to the game, love. Nice, easy game at home. Don't you worry, you're going to love it, right? We're going to go and watch Plymouth at home in the FA Cup. We drew 0-0. It's the worst game of football I've ever seen. It was that period of the club. I think it was early January. It was that period. We drew 0-0. And we were dreadful. Sadio Mane went away to the African combinations, and we were awful. I was literally sat there. And to be fair, if it was in like the 70th minute, the 60th, I would have left. I would have said, but she was just like, "Oh no, they might score." I was like, "We could play here for the next 5 years. We're never going to score." I felt so sorry for her. But you know, and the reason why I'm getting that is I didn't have my 6 pints. That was the reason why we drew 0-0. If I would have had my 6 pints, we would have won the game. Well, I definitely would have enjoyed it more anyway. So that's how I'm going to end it there, guys. Right, thank you all for joining me. Any other business, guys, before we let it go?
Nope. Let's get this one.
I gotta go pick up some beer for tomorrow.
Oh, Hills, there you go. Look at that. Hey, get some German beer ready for your Bayern Munich friend. There you go. Just that's it. But yeah, get the beer in. I'm in work.
Some post game.
They do know I watched the game in work. They allow me to, to have it on my phone and whatever. I'll be able to watch it in work. Then they don't understand why I'm screaming down the phone, which is kind of unnecessary, of course. But yeah, guys, I'm going to let this go anyway. Thank you all for joining me. Up the Reds, we'll have a little catch-up before Fulham away, which is another ludicrous weekend of FA Cup / Premier League football. So, yeah, have a good night, guys, and I will speak to you soon.
Up the Reds.
Thank you.